Hello YouTubers, Tross here with another Minecraft video, and I have a few contraptions in this video, some improvements on things that I saw in Xisumavoid and Mumbo Jumbo's advent calendar, and then I'm going to show off a bit of the world that I've been playing on. Some people that I play with, we started a new server back at the beginning of October in anticipation of 1.9. It's still 1.8. We haven't moved on to the snapshots or anything. But we have quite a few nice builds that I'll show off. So let's get to these contraptions. Okay, a few days ago, Xisumavoid showed off the silent jukebox, or in his case, it was almost silent. What this does is it lets you put a record into a jukebox and play it, and then when you're done, it will automatically sort the record back into the appropriate chest. Now, his contraption was almost completely silent. He only had one piston. And I have made this version, and it doesn't have any pistons. It's completely silent. I use a different mechanism back here in more ways than one. His was one block deeper, so I've saved the block, but I had to go one block wider, so mine is one block wider than his. Also, mine, I think, is a lot more resource friendly. Now, this, with the number of comparators here, it doesn't look that resource friendly, but he had a repeater per chest, which I don't have. And he also had another line, I think it was 7 repeaters to add a delay, and I'm getting that same or similar delay. I think mine's actually a little longer with this loop of 4 comparators. Additionally, I have a light here, and it's basically a ready light. When this light is on, you can't put in another record, or else you will possibly mess up the system. Technically, you can put in a record if it's a larger record, but if it's a smaller record, while the light is on, this is a memory cell here, but basically it's still remembering the value of the last record to keep the hoppers locked. So that the record will get sorted into the correct hopper. If you put in a larger record, that's great. It'll just increase the chain. But if you put in a shorter record, it's going to keep remembering the larger record. And when I say shorter, it lowered numbered. It'll have a shorter redstone signal here. But I'm going to take a few records here. Let's actually open up some space in my inventory. Need torches. 4 records should be good. We'll take the first. I like this one, High. And then we'll take the second to last. And last, because if there's any issues with how things sort, it will be the first or the last that will usually show it. So let me put in High here, and I'll briefly explain how this works. You can watch Xisumavoid's video. Basically, this hopper cart, basically what happens is when you eject the record, it pops out normally, but the hopper cart picks it up, and the hopper cart, because of the cake, we push the hopper cart, it is slightly over this hopper, so this hopper will then pull the record out of the hopper cart, and it will go down the chain until we come across an unpowered hopper here, because most of these, basically all the hoppers up until this one will be locked, and I'll show you how that works here. So we're playing. So we have 2 different comparators, and if you don't know, comparators will actually put out a different signal depending on what record is in there. So currently there's 12 records, there's 15 possible signals, so they actually have room for 3 more records without modifying anything drastically. But, so this comparator gets an output, and in this case, if you look on the right there, it says power 7. So this is power 7. This one happens to be power 8. This little memory cell, it's analog memory cell. If I remove the record, this will keep remembering that power. And it's basically, we bring it down by 1 to 6. So we lock the first 6 chests here. So the 7th chest, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chest is the one where we took the record out of. And that's unpowered, so it will grab the record as it's coming along this hopper chain. Then to reset, well, we have a similar comparator here. Don't care what record it is, so we just boost the strength up all the way. This will slowly, when it gets unpowered, when we take the record out, it will slowly power down, but as long as this still has power, this will be off. When it finally loses power, this will turn on. It turns off this, which turns off the light, and unpowers this, so this instantly turns back to 0 and resets. It also then unlocks all the hoppers. So let's do that. Now click. You'll see this is losing power. And when it finally loses power, there we go. Light turns off. All the hoppers are unlocked, and we're ready for the next record. So that was that music disc. Let's just toss that over here. We'll do the first music disc. You can see this is now power 1. This happens to be the opposite, 14. They always add up to 15. But when we reduce it down, it doesn't lock any hoppers. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of that. So when we eject it, occasionally you actually may see the record pop up. When we eject it, the record goes here and then gets pulled right down. We'll now do 11. And this is just a bunch of noises, but you can see it's locked all the way to here. And similar thing. So this was power 11. I just missed it. But it was power 11. And then we reset by this turning on, which turns off this, which makes this unpowered anymore. So it's basically 0. These are in subtract mode. So 0 power minus anything, well, it's going to be 0. And finally, the last one. And I'll just show you here. This is power 12, so this is 3. They always add up to 15. But then we let it go 1 to subtract 1 so that the last one is not locked. You could actually, in place of this last hopper, use a dropper, because that actually is just cobble and 1 redstone, so you save some materials. You don't need as much iron. If they do add a few more records later, you could extend this as long as there's not more than 15 records. Alright, let's eject that. And I kind of saw a flicker of a record for a second. I'm not sure if that will show up in video. So let's see if this worked. Yes, we got that one. We got that one. That one. And that one. So, that's my completely silent jukebox sorting system. Record sorting system. So this is that memory cell pulled out. And I just extended this line for demonstration purposes. I'll show in a second. So like I said, if one side is powered to 15, the other's going to be 0. They always add up to 15, 1 and 14, etc., etc. I'll power either end can be used as an input, either dot, and either dot could be used as an output. It just matters if you want the exact value you put in, you have to use the same side to output, but you can do that by putting out a comparator here. That will always be the same as this. If you want the opposite, you can do that too. If I put a torch there, you can see this is power 9, and of course that means this side is power 6. Add up to 15. I can then remove this torch, and hey, look, that's still power 9, and this is still power 6, and it will stay that way until you change, increase the power here, or do something to reset it. Now, in this circuit here, I was resetting it. Well, this started off at 0, so if we want that to be 0, we'll remove this torch, and then we go back to 0 and 15. We put the torch back. It still stays that way. I can put this like this. This will now be 14. That will be 1. We remove it. It stays 14 and 1. The comparator here is also showing 14. That's our output in this case, if we're using this as the input. And then, again, to reset it, you can remove this torch. In that case here, I was basically, you can use redstone to turn off the torch, and that will also reset it instead of removing it. I did not come up with this circuit. This is built by Dico the Redstoner, D-I-C-O. I'll hopefully have a link in my description. Yeah, really, really useful in a lot of analog circuits. And I mean, if you're good with redstone, you should have digital, on-off redstone circuits down. If you really want to make compact things like, well, it's way off in the distance, but my 64-track minecart station, that's based off of analog. So this is holding, a single redstone, if you treat it as on or off, holds 1 bit. This will hold 4 bits if you want to handle it that way. The thing is, getting those 4 bits around is trickier, because you can't just run a wire. Your wire would have to look something like this, and then basically repeat. Comparator, block, spot of redstone, block, comparator. And to show that works, let's power this up. So we have power 10 here. Let's leave that on. So that's power 10, and that's power 10. And, well, if we had another block of redstone, it's 10. So this is the kind of wire you would have to go. But this will carry 16 different values. And if you know about binary, that can be represented with 4 bits. So you can store 4 bits in basically 8 by 2 blocks. 8 by 2 by 2, technically. But it's hard moving that value around. However, there are plenty of uses for a memory cell like this. Now, a few days ago, Mumbo Jumbo showed a vertical counter. But his had every other block. Well, here's a vertical counter. I'm using a slightly altered version of that memory cell. This is also by Dico the Redstoner. I did not come up with this part here. I just added on this part to show the output. So this is a memory cell, but I don't have the torches. Instead of the torches, I have these, they're droppers. But they're filled with snowballs. Being completely filled, they give a redstone value of 15. Same as a torch. So we have basically, this is the 1/2, and this is the other half. We just have 2 more comparators in the middle here to add a bit of a delay. You'll see why in a second. However, if I press the button here, this will power this block, which will cause the dispenser to dispense 1 snowball into the hopper here. That will lower the value that this comparator reads from 15 to 14. Actually, I want to do it on this one, I think. Same thing. This will lower it from 15 to 14. Well, this is 0, so 14 minus 0 is still, it will be 14 instead of 15. So this will get 14 instead of 15, and then this will be 15 minus 14, that will get 1. However, this will take 4 cycles, 4 ticks, redstone ticks. And at that point, the hopper here will put the snowball back. And then we're at a steady state where this is again 15 and 15, so we'll lock in 14 and 1. And then I have this reading out this analog signal. And I have 15 blocks, or 15 bits of redstone here, going up a zigzag ladder. And I have these repeaters reading them and powering the lights. Either directly, the redstone repeater will power this block, and then this light will turn on. If I had it directly powering the light, it would also power the ones above and below it. That's why I have these blocks in the way. So either that way, or powering the block next to the light. Again, we're only going to power that one light this way. So let me hit the button. So yeah, this is 15. Is it 0? I'll hit the button. And notice, now this is 14, and this is 1, and we have one spot here powered, but that will power through and turn on the light. I'm sure you'll take my word for it, but I press this again, and that will go up to 2, and you can see that because 1, 2, and we now have 2. So basically, every time you press this button and let it reset, we've gone up. That will be 3. That will be 4. And we can go all the way up. 5, 6, 7, 8. That should be just more than halfway. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You can see this spot is now out, that spot is fully bright, and we have all the lights lit. Now on top of that, you can do more than just go up. Pressing this button will do the same on the opposite side, and that will actually remove one power. You can see this is just a little lit, so this is 1, that's 14, and now we have 1 open at the top. And if you want to reset it completely, you can just power this one, which is the same as unpowering that, but you can't really unpower things, but... And then they're unpowered. They're actually, yeah, they would unpower instantly because this is basically one set of redstone, so it's not like you'd see them going out, like going up, you know, this one goes out, then that one goes out. No, they all go out at the exact same moment. So that's an improved version of Mumbo Jumbo's vertical counter. What else is this circuit good for? Well, a few things. Lots of things. You can use stuff like this all over the place. I started making a tunable enchanting setup. Xisumavoid, in his Hermitcraft base, probably 2 weeks ago now, or 3, was making an enchanting area that had an adjustable amount of bookshelves. I should have kept something to enchant. I actually built this probably 2 weeks ago now. And, well, I'm actually in creative mode, so you're not gonna... Well, alright. No bookshelves, so best we can get is 5. But what do we have over here? Now, this is actually kind of based on one of the circuits I have in my 64-track minecart station. So this is a, well, I call it a spinner. You can turn this, and it gives different redstone outputs. So right now I have it pointing at 0 and 8, and this is up, so it's 0. And yeah, you can see no bookshelves. But since that has 8 different positions, well, that's equivalent to 3 bits, if you know binary. So I actually have a mechanism here that extracts 3 different bits. This is the ones bit. This gets the 2 bit, and up here gets the 4 bit. And however, there's really 16. So then this lever is the 8 bit. It adds 8, or turns on the 8 bit. So really, how this works is, let's 0. You can see no bookshelves. Turn this to 1. 1 bookshelf comes up. That is the ones bookshelf. This is all binary based. And if you see, we should now, maybe if I had something else, we get a slightly higher enchant, but they're kind of locked in for that. If I go to 2, that will go away, and the 2 bookshelves there that are associated with the 2-bit come in. Alright, now I have a different enchant. 3 will now put the 1 bookshelf back up while keeping the 2 bookshelves there in place. Different set of enchants now. If I go to 4, all 3 of those will disappear, and we'll get a 4, I believe, in the corner there. There we go. That's 4 bookshelves. The actual very corner is empty. And different enchants again. That's kind of why this is useful. And then this will be 5. It will basically go through the same sequence. The 1 bookshelf, the 2 bookshelves, and then all of them together. And then we go back here to 0, but if we flip this down, we get 8 more bookshelves. This corner has, there's 6 you can see, and then there's 2 you can't. For a total of 8, and then we can keep adding 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, with that one gone, and then 15 full power enchanting. Level 30. But that works. But this is rather large. I did explain how that works in my train station video. We're at 0. Obviously, everything's off. When I go to 1, that turns on this 1's bit. There is basically, as you can see, there's torches here. However, when I go to 2, we'll do the same thing over here. This will slide over this torch, powering that line. But this will come on, and that actually, if you can see, it will power this, but that one right here, which will turn on that spot of redstone, which will actually turn off this torch, which is under this block, which will turn off this line. And that's how the 1-bit works. The 2-bit basically works the same way, except this is basically 2 spots of redstone away. And then the 4-bit, just because there's nothing higher than 4, all we have to do is make sure we go 1, 2, 3. When this gets powered, so this, even with, it works. When we get the power to here, that means we're at position 4, and then we just leave 4 on. The only time 4 is off is when we get back to 0, which the power will be back down all the way here. So, and I'll go to 2. You can see this is now powered. I'll pop that out. That torch is now off. So this is unpowered, and this piston has come out and powered. And that's how those work. And then this lever, we just run a separate line to put out all the pistons in the corner. So yeah, the rest of this is just running these lines into the correct pistons. The 2's line comes up, powers this block. It goes and powers that block, and then comes up here and powers this block so that the first 2 pistons go. The 4 line comes up through here, powers this block, which powers these pistons, and then comes down, powers this block, which powers these pistons. This is the 1's block right here. It has an empty space up there, and that's powered way underneath here by this torch. And then the lever for 8 comes in, powers these 4 pistons, 1, 2, 3, and there's 1 under here, and then comes down here and powers these pistons. And yeah, because of the way to get this piston and this piston, because technically these are transparent blocks, and powering this one does not power that one, we have this redstone torch here. It works, but we got a lot of building out here. So then I thought of using this memory cell. So I came up with this version, and this is all push button. Decorated it a bit differently in here. We got some anvils and crafting tables, because anvils are going to be useful if you're going to combine enchants. And the bookshelves are laid out a little differently, so now we have those 2 corners free, so we can put the enchanting type things. I put mushrooms, I don't know, and wither skull. We had a wither skull in the last one. But I can come here and press the up button, and we get... It's just a slight delay, that's the only difference. The way this one works is we fill around the bottom first, and this is actually going to go up to 9 on the bottom, and then we do the other 7 at the top. This should be the last one here on the bottom, and then up 1 more. We start coming down here, and then the next one will be right there, hiding the 1 mushroom sign. Well, sign, whatever. Item frame. And there, and then 2 more here and here. And that, pressing up won't do anything else. We should have a level 30 enchant, same one. But this also gives us nice, we can go down by 1. Basically reverse order. We also have this give us basic enchants, or give us full enchants. And basically we got the same circuit here. We're reading the value out of here. The reset's just a little differently wired here. The reset button is there. The full button turns on this torch here. But otherwise, it's the same. The only thing is this uses a whole lot of comparators. So, we basically split the signal down and up. Down is, for the basic, 0 through 9. So when we get 1, that turns on. 0, obviously none of them would be on. 1 turns that one on, then and then we have to preserve the signal, except it needs to drop down 1, because all of those drop down 1. And then again, these are what adds that little delay. You saw how it goes across. For the top, though, we want this one to go only on the 10th. So we take the original full power here. This is 15. But then by having this 3/5 full, we subtract, and that's how we wind up with power 6 here. So we're dropping 9 because 9 is done on the bottom. So once we get power 10, that will then be enough to power this, and it's just the same kind of thing up here. Yeah, we go around. Save one spot dropping down that way. But that is that. And that's the end of my gizmos here. Put that all away. I'm now going to go on to the Minecraft world that I've been playing on and just do a quick little tour. Alright, I am going to go into spectator mode. I am one of the admins here. That's why I have access to spectator mode, but this is our spawn chunks. Actually happened to log out here last time. Someone just built this Christmas tree. We have a spawn shelter. This is basically spawn shelter 2.0. We had a smaller one. They had to put out the little torches on the top here for fear of burning down the Christmas tree. This server has customized terrain generation. So it's... I wouldn't say it's amplified, but definitely the mountainous areas are a lot taller. The mountainous areas are basically amplified. I'm not sure what settings were used. I don't run the server. I'm sort of a friend of the person who does, and that's why I have admin access. But yeah, he set it up. Besides being partially amplified, there's a lot more ores. Ores are... the veins are twice as big, and I think they're also twice as common, as well as the dungeons are more common. But other than that, I don't think too much of the terrain generation has been modified. The thing is, what you would normally see here would be an iron farm, but we really haven't had need yet. It still is, I mean, it's a bit of a pain to have to dig for iron, but I mean, it's not, in 30 minutes you can get 6 stacks easily. Maybe not quite that much, but yeah. No one's hurting for diamonds either. Usually when you find a group of diamonds, it's a good 8 to 10 diamond ore, and most people here have enchanted fortune picks, so you're getting 2 to 3 times that amount. So, things here. There's a lot of farms built right here. So this is a tree farm, and we actually really lucked out, and well, I'm going to go underground, and basically we got the stairway down. And so, while technically, I guess this is not right under spawn, there's a stair right from the spawn shelter. We have a skeleton spawner here, and it's not active because I'm in spectator mode, but we have a nice farm here. It brings them up and over and drops them in here, so you can AFK in behind, well, go in here, close the door, AFK for 5 to 10 minutes and get all the XP you want, and then all the bows. We have a sorter for the arrows, the bones, and then armor and bows. And then right over here we have arrows, big chests worth, bones, which actually a lot of them get used in that tree farm. But then enchanted bows, this is almost all full. So you can get whatever enchantment you want, combine them. And then cheap enchanted armor if you don't want to get diamond, which actually most people have diamond. And then this is unenchanted stuff you can use to repair. Don't get much iron, but you get everything else, leather and gold and chain. And then again, here's plain bows for repairing. So we're pretty set on that. And we have rail lines all over the place because I have built my 64-track minecart station. I think, well, we got 6 lines off on that side so far, and another 3 over here, so not really using it to its fullest potential. But if you haven't seen this yet, this is my minecart station. I have probably a year ago a video on my channel. But you pick a color and an ore, and that will take you to a particular destination. 8 times 8 is 64. On this side, we have listed what goes where. So you just stand here after picking it, get in your cart, and then you'll be on your way. And if you don't get in, it recycles the cart. There's a little tripwire right there that detects you and will send you on your way. Let's go back into spectator. We're actually... Here's all the mechanism. You can watch the video. But basically, there's a whole row of torches, only one of which gets turned on based upon your selection. And then one other thing that gets changed is if you're on the left side or the right side. There's 32 tracks on each side. But you do get through this relatively quickly, 8 seconds or so, and you're on one of the 64 tracks. And it's all nice in a straight line. The only problem is you can only build this in 2 directions. Because the way it works, you're either facing north or it's facing west. Anyway, so we're right here on the edge of a few biomes. I guess this is a normal... Where is the plains biome? Mesa biome is, well... To the south, it does go a little this way, but then we also have a swamp, and there's actually a witch hut just over here. We have not yet set up a farm off of it. Let's see. There is the witch hut. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff pretty close to spawn. One thing we did not have close to spawn is villagers. We did set up some farms here. Yeah, I was talking about the farm. So we did bring back some villagers, and we had them farming. But this is not the right way to set up a farm. I did this on my own before researching it. We did get some vegetables and food out of it, but well, a few of the villagers have gone missing. So that's kind of a bummer. WhatsApp has set up cow, sheep, and pig farm here. When they grow up, they should automatically cook themselves because they should be pushing themselves up the ladder into the fire. Lava, not fire. And then you get cooked meat, although occasionally you get some raw. We have another set of cows over here because a lot of people wanted books. I'll show you this Christmas stuff at the end. We do have someone building close... a house up there, and someone else built another. I think this is supposed to be a common house. I'm not sure who entirely built it. A little further out than we have people building stuff. I built, well, my first place is actually about 9,000 blocks away because I built at a flower forest on the edge of a swamp so I could build a flower farm factory that contains every single flower. But I'm probably not going to show you that in this video. I did also, though, build this sugarcane farm. It's not completely efficient. Some gets caught on there, but it works well enough that we have more than 2 full chests, because actually even these hoppers are filling up. Someone built this cactus farm back here. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but hey, we got lots of cactus and lots of green. I think it's the same person who built this really cool maze. It was easier to see without the glass on top, but then it was also possible to cheat by getting on top of the wall. But I think the point is to get into the middle of all these bushes. We got a bit of a sheep farm here. You know, a basic one. I think these are vegetables intended for the sheep farm. Another little mini cactus farm here. Another person built an underwater house here. Very impressive. Someone else's base is over here. We got someone in the desert. I guess I'll go show. Well, let me show you this. I actually started this before Xisumavoid started working on his villager trading center. But we both noticed the same video. So I built mine with 2 sides. I believe there's 25 villagers per side. And then up here I have the villagers. These are the next ones to come down. They're basically cycling around. Unlike Xisumavoid, I left these blank spaces where we have signs. The villagers will occasionally get stuck in there, but that's why I have, like, you can see this guy got stuck. But the next time they come around, and I do cycle them around, you can see they'll come up on the rail here and then get cycled around. They'll just knock into him and get him unstuck. I have my breeder over here more than 32 blocks away, so those guys in there can't breed. I actually have, there's a plate, pressure plate, iron pressure plate, which counts weight. So when we get to 50 villagers, I have some farmers out here, you'll see why in a minute, it turns off the breeder. Normally you have a villager up here right next to the doors, but he is down here. Because we have 50 villagers, I power that, the power track, which pushes him back down. When we get less than 50 villagers, by taking some out, we have this whole minecart. The empty minecarts get recycled when you make a villager go away by pressing his button. They get dropped out into a pit, or at least that's the idea. I got a few stuck minecarts here, it looks. But the villagers get dropped down in the pit, and the minecart is supposed to continue on. Come down here, pick up another villager, and then bring them back. And this just remembers what side the minecart came from last time and sends it back to that side. So once this drops below 50, this line will get powered. That one up there will get unpowered, sending this villager back up. And in a few seconds, he sees the door. It's like, oh, it's a village. We only have 1 villager in the village, and then these guys down here start breeding. These guys automatically get food through this stream here right now, also because it's turned off. There's a hopper right behind this brick here that will normally be locked while this is in breeding mode, so the food coming through the stream gets dropped right on these guys, and they have plenty of food. Because we have had this full for maybe a week, we got lots of food here. We have so much food, I actually set up a system to bring some of it over to the spawn house. That one actually has a full double chest. All this food comes from this giant farm, automatic farm, and this one is set up correctly. I follow a tutorial. This is the same design Xisumavoid made very early on in Hermitcraft Series 3. Actually, at the moment, I forget who built it, but I thought it had, like, is it Unary Bit? I think it may be It is Unary Bit. That's why I label these things. Unary Bit, fully automatic, carrot, potato, farm, villager, AI, and I actually also have a floor of wheat. You get some bread out of it. I did have some villagers go missing here. I think that is a bug with 1.8, like they glitch into the floor sometimes when the area reloads and then they die. So I need to get another farmer, and that's actually why we had those farmers outside. But basically, here's the farmer. He sees the other guy on the carpet. He throws, and it goes in the water stream, and we carry it away. He plants some plants right there, but as soon as he leaves, he'll hit... he's standing on a piece of string right now, and the string will update. The light level there is only 7, not enough for a plant, so that will pop out. So he'll go dig up a few more, and then notice, oh wait, I didn't plant one over here. Go to plant again. You can see it popped out. And, so after he digs up a few more, eventually he'll notice that, come over here, let me plant here. Oh, and while I'm here, let me throw some more. So it basically keeps him coming back here to throw food at this guy, who can never get it. And so it basically keeps the food coming. So you can see I have carrots, wheat, potato, all color-coded. The colors of the clay with the vegetable. I have red here, all set for 1.9, and beetroot. I'm thinking of replacing all these tracks. These tracks were how I got the villagers in here. You can see this guy actually is still in a minecart. Making a nice stairway up and putting an actual little base up here on the top floor. I won't show you my flower farm. That's if you've seen the flower farm in my airship, it's basically the same design. I did the circuitry a little better, which I think it makes it a cycle or two faster, which, it was fast enough. The only difference I have really is in the layout. I couldn't do one nice big long straight area because the flowers weren't cooperating with where they were growing. So I basically have two separate areas instead of two areas that are right next to each other. We're heading, here we go, over this way, down this track. This, in the distance, loading in now, is actually the base of the guy who runs the server, Shadowdane. Thank you for running the server, having lots of fun on it. Here was a Guardian Temple, Ocean Temple. There's actually still another one over here. We go. There's another one, actually not that far away. They're kind of within. Definitely, you can stay in the middle here and see both. We've actually found quite a few. There's like 5 known ones on the map already. But we have turned this into a big prismarine farm. Myself and Watts Ape, wow, it took us almost 2 weeks to dig it out. And then, another, at least a week of getting it mostly set up. And then probably a few more days to finish it off slowly. This is, you can't really see it running. Let me go into creative mode. And that will cause the guardians to spawn. There you go. Basically, I have spawning strips. They spawn in water. This side has higher ones because we want just mainly guardians. This side has some static water, so we also get some squid that will get killed, and we can collect their ink for making the dark prismarine. But basically, there's static water. On this side, there's static water for 3 levels, but then this was all empty air, so it really means the water's pouring down, and there's a downward flow here. So if a Guardian spawns in that area, they're going to immediately sink. If they swim into that area, they're also going to immediately sink. This side has 1 or 2 layers of static water. Now, I found we weren't getting enough squid spawns. I don't think the squid actually spawn in this top layer, so that's why we have extra layers on this side. Anyway, you can see, well, they fall out at a good rate. They get carried along and then carried along this way. Sometimes they do stop here, but eventually we get many a minute. Our last server, we had a smaller farm, and we would only get like 1 or 2 Guardians every 10 seconds. And here we're getting probably 1 a second. I mean, it doesn't look like it right now. Trust me, we do get quite a bit more. So, there's that lava. They get toasted, and then they fall. You're not supposed to be spawning there. So now we're underneath. We still didn't clear all this out. We have a ring of hoppers right around the lava. You can see. This is to collect, well, you're not going to see it there, ink sacs from the squid so they don't go into the lava. So it's right at the edge. The ink sacs will get collected. There's also a row right at the edge here for the ones that fall directly in. Here's our lava. They get cooked, and then they take some fall damage. And together that is enough to kill them and get their drops. Then we have some minecarts here. Usually this is, yeah, you can see, here we go. We're starting to get, because I was up there, it lowered the spawning rates. But if you're down here, there's a good 10 to 15 always in here. The fire will kill them. They've taken fall damage, and then there's enough burn time so that they completely die. And we collect their drops. You can see this is filling up. We actually have 2 different carts here. Here's where the spectator mode helps again. The carts come up the track here and go to this unloading station. 1 for each cart, so they actually could be both unloading at the same time. And then that third cart with just the ink sacs unloads here with the standard unloader. This unloader, the carts move, we detect if they have items and make this a closed loop. So they'll loop around here. Basically, so instead of unloading 1 item every 4 ticks, they can unload, well, you can hear, they can unload a lot quicker. Then we just put them out into the water stream, get them on the edge of the hoppers here so they don't bounce, and go into the big sorter, and we have a whole big sorting system. There is a very nice build on this server done by Watts8, but he's not done, so I don't want to show it off before he's done. I want to wrap this video up because it's actually getting quite on the long side, and I'll just fly back to spawn and show you our Christmas tree. I kind of cheated in a little bit of stuff, some note blocks, just because I'm not good with tunes, and it would have been a pain to have to break and rebuild it a whole bunch of times. So I actually built the music in creative mode, but this, well, they leave a sign. It was myself, Swifty Pants, and Petrobon, I believe that's his name. We're all working together. I forget who started the tree. let's get out of creative mode. This is sort of based on Mumbo Jumbo's bouncing elves. There's not enough room for them to bounce here, but I did put one behind. And we got snowballs shooting up here. And if you couldn't really hear it, it's a decent rendition of We Wish You a Merry Christmas. There's one note that's off, though. I started it and did not realize that the one note was lower than all the rest, and wasn't going to make it. But here we go. This is all the note blocks. And I actually have a separate just the music button here. And that was the one note. And I'm gonna wrap up the video there. I wish you all happy holidays. I am probably taking next week off. That's my plan at the moment. So I'm not gonna have any new videos up next week, but I'll be back at on the 4th. Or probably the 5th, actually. I usually do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with some new videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next year.